Okay, so here is a quick recap of multiplying, timesing, using the grid method, my favourite. It is crucial that you know your times tables. It's crucial for heaps of things to know your times tables. And I know that some of you are a little bit rusty, but if you keep doing just a little bit of this every day for fun, they do start to embed themselves. Don't forget, my family thought it was hilarious when I became a primary school teacher because I didn't know my times tables. But when you're using them, they soon get embedded and you're fine. So we're going to go with quite big numbers. I'm going to make this tricky because I know you can do it. So let's have 35 times 43. Now in the test, this might not be as straightforward as that. You're probably going to have a worded problem where you've got to unpick the story that it's given you. Sometimes remember there can be bits of information that are thrown in there to try and trip you up. They're not actually necessary to the multiplication or the calculations that you're going to be doing. So if you read your story, worded problem, and you got to the crux of what they were asking you, and it was like 35 times 43, you could write that down in your answer box to remind you what you're going to be working with. And because it's 2 digits times 2 digits, we want 2 columns across and 2 rows across, 2 columns down. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes there. 1, 2, 3, 4 digits in our sum. So it doesn't matter where you put your numbers, but I'm going to go 30 and 5 across the top, 35. And down this side, I'm going to have 40 and 3 for our 43. So now I've got 35 times 43. We're going to go and work out each of these and put the answer in the box. So I don't need to be looking at the zeros because 40 and 30 are relatively big numbers, and thinking what's 40 times 30 can really just like, oh my God, I don't know. So forget the zeros at the moment. Just look at the actual numbers that we've got. 4 times 3. We know that's really easy, nice and quick, 12. So we're going to put 12. And then we're going to look at how many zeros there are in our question. 1, 2. I'm going to put 2 zeros. So our answer to 40 times 30 is actually 1200. Now we're going to look in this box. We're doing 40 times 5. Excuse my clock. I don't know if you can hear that bird singing in the background. It's 10 o'clock. Right, back to this. 40 times 5. Forget the zero and simply think, what's 4 times 5? 20. And then we've got 1 0 in our question. We're going to add that on there. Next one, we're looking at 3 times 30. Or simply go 3 times 3 is 9. How many zeros in our question? Just the 1. Put it on. And actually 30 times 3 is 90. And then the final box here is 3 times 5, 15. So now that we've got all our boxes, we're going to add those up nice and easy. 1200, and this is where some of you go a bit wrong with your columns, so do keep those columns really carefully in place. So 1200, we've got 200, we've got 90, and we've got 15. Sometimes I just like to make sure, because once you've got bigger numbers here that you're working with, you need to make sure you've got all your numbers written down here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers in the boxes, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers down the side. Put my line, my answer goes underneath. So I've got 5 at 0, 0, 0. Well, that's easy, 5. And in this column, 9 add 1 is 10. I can't put 2 digits into my answer, so I'm going to put the 0, and the 1 comes into the next column. So I've actually got 2 add 1 is 5, and then 1. So the answer to my 35 times 43 is 1,505. Now, can you remember when we looked at multiplying decimal numbers? If this question had been 3.5 times 4.3, we would have done exactly the same process, forgetting about the decimals for now. Put your 35, your 40, your 3. And then when you've got your answer, come back to, okay, well, it was actually 3.5 times 4.3. Can you remember how we worked out? Because the digits, when you've done all the multiplying, would be exactly the same, but we just needed to think, okay, where's the decimal? And this is what I think is really clever. How many digits in this sum come after the decimal point? We've got 1, 2. So we need 2 numbers after our decimal point in this answer. 1, 2. You use a calculator now to find out what is the answer to 3.5 times 4.3. You'll find it's 15.05. Cool.